Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy podcast. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my good friend, All My Feelings, and my co-host, of course.
Ian, buddy.
What is the Reel McCoy? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we discuss movies. We send you off to watch a movie. You come back to us and we nerd out on it, geek out on it, and break it down to its various pieces. Now, today we've got two very special guests. We've got JerseyGirlJenni and FU Tone. Good evening to you guys.
Hey there.
Hi. The movie we're discussing tonight is none other than Wall Street. It is, as we say, greed is good. How was you? Did you guys watch this movie this week?
Yes.
Awesome. It's not always some
watch forever.
And it was my first time.
Your first time watching? Oh,
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. We've got a good. I like it when we've got a first time perspective watching. All My Feelings. Did you watch this week? And how many times have you watched it?
3 times.
3 times. It's two for me. One with the straight watch, and one with all the edits and stuff that I do. Fun watch. It reminded me a lot of the things that I really, really enjoy with this movie. We're gonna dive right into it. So before we do anything, like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you want to interact with me, you can always do that on Twitter at Meffistoe. DMs are open at Meffistoe79 on Instagram, which is kind of inactive, but its DMs are open, or email us on the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. And of course, we do have our guests. If you want to give a follow, that's the Reel McCoy podcast on Twitch. If you want to give us a follow, if you want to watch on Twitch, but of course, like I said, we have guests. Go have a follow on JerseyGirlJenni's channel. Or if you want to see what FU Tone has in store for you, trust me, those guitars behind him are legit. Legit. So go see his website and be amazed.
And just as we were saying right before we started, he had to take a call from the guitarist of Smashing Pumpkins. It's not a big deal or anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
Never stop.
Never stop. Never stop. All right, guys. We are going to start the show with Oh My Feelings as he takes over and does the behind the screens.
Production take 2.
All right. Give us the lowdown on what's been going on with the production of this movie.
Okay. What was really funny is that this is after the success of Platoon. And originally, Oliver Stone actually wanted to write a screenplay based off of the quiz show scandals in the 1950s. It was his co-writer that convinced him in a just conference call meeting to actually write something about Wall Street instead. Now, the film about the 50s show, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. It's called Quiz Show.
It's called Quiz Show. It's with Ray Fiennes and
movie.
John Turturro. It's amazing.
Great movie. But actually, it was Oliver Stone who gave Robert Redford the idea to make the movie then, after he passed on it.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Stone and Weiser actually visited multiple brokering firms, previous people that have been incarcerated for insider trading, and many high level brokers and investment bankers while creating the film. And as a result, the initial concept of the film and the original name of the film was actually just going to be Greed in all capital letters.
That's why that line is there.
No, actually not.
Really? No?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay. Because they love to name drop, especially 80s and 90s. They love to name drop the name of the movie inside one of the lines. Mm-hmm. And it's always kind of forced, at least for me. It was always kind of forced, but it's a thing.
Yeah. But Mr. Gecko was oddly a composite of several very infamous financiers at the time, such as Owen Morrissey, who had the $20 million insider trading scandal in the late 80s, Dennis Levine, Ivan Boesky, and Michael Milken. Yeah.
Why most of these names are Jewish is beyond me, but continue.
It's from Philadelphia, so yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry,
that's right.
didn't hear you.
Yeah. Go ahead, keep going.
No, I was gonna
Okay.
say, but Boesky was actually the one who delivered the line during a commencement speech for the UC Berkeley School of Business. He actually delivered the quote, "Greed, for a lack of a better word, is right. Greed is good."
Yeah.
And Stone adapted that into the screenplay.
Okay.
Yep.
Keep going.
Yep. So
We've got a lot to cover. So
Stone actually said this film in 1985 due to the insider trading scandals that were really prevalent, like at the end of 85 and the beginning of 86. But there is actually an anachronism in there because if you notice, at one point in time, John C. McGinley's character Marvin says, "Well, Gecko, what he would do is after the Challenger exploded, he short sold NASA stock." But like, no, the Challenger didn't happen until 88.
no, it was 86. The Challenger was 86 for
It was
sure.
86. Okay.
Yes.
Well, but anyway, it's an anachronism though.
But yeah,
I'm sorry. It was 86. I can pull it up if you want.
No, but still, the timing was off. Where basically he was foretelling future events. He was like being Nostradamus, which I think any stockbroker would have loved at the time.
86. January.
I would.
86.
Okay, I was gonna say there were so
Sorry,
many
I pulled the Jamie. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, but there were so many casting changes that actually happened. Initially, Tom Cruise was considered for the role of Bud Fox.
I could see
But-
that.
I can see that too.
I can see it too. I would buy that.
Yeah, but he turned down the role. Then they offered it up to Matthew Modine, of all actors. I couldn't see that. No.
Not
they
back
eventually-
then.
Yeah, they eventually did give it to Charlie Sheen at even though there was some people that weren't very happy with that decision because they didn't think he was ready for a role like this. Speaking of, Michael Douglas was actually one of the most contentious casting choices because many people considered him too off of just hands off when it came to actually being in a role. Like he would basically just show up, and then he was still doing things with his own production company at the time. So he would be on set, then he would immediately go to his trailer and start working on his own side projects. So he was never really trying to interact with the cast and crew or trying to take notes or anything or trying to like, he basically do one shot, I'm done, I'm moving on.
Right.
But he wanted actually a grittier and darker role after he made Romancing the Stone because he didn't think that Romancing the Stone was a good film.
Interesting.
It's not.
Yeah.
Never liked those.
Yes.
The only good interaction in Romancing the Stone is the back and forth between him and Kathleen Turner and Danny DeVito. But on the whole, sorry,
That's fair.
it's recently rewatched for a project.
Yes. But speaking of, the studio also wanted Warren Beatty to play the role.
I could see that too, though. Couldn't
I
you?
can see that. Back
Yeah.
then, yes.
Yeah, back then.
I don't want to keep going. I don't want to get off topic because I just gave her a Beatty film the other night. She fell asleep though.
It really depends which one. Was it Dick Tracy? Tell me it's not Dick Tracy.
Yeah, as long as it wasn't the 90s Dick Tracy, it's fine.
No. Heaven Can Wait, and it was late.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
That's a pretty good movie, but it's
I
slow.
loved it.
I thought it was
It's slow.
boring. I thought it was kind of corny.
It's very slow.
That's just me.
Yes.
Let's
But
say
then, but I was gonna say, oddly enough, after Warren Beatty turned down the role, then they offered the role to Richard Gere, who then also turned it down. Then they just finally acquiesced to the request to have Michael Douglas play.
It's really hard to not see Michael Douglas in it because he's so mean. He's got a mean face.
Mhm.
It's like you would. I thought about it this week. You know who would have been a great replacement for him? James Woods. Because back then, James Woods started the whole being mean typecast role. Not really the villain, but like mean.
I could see that, but James Woods would be too young for the role at the time.
Possibly.
What do you think about that?
Go on. I'm sorry. Derailed it. Go on.
No, Meffistoe, no. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know, I agree. Too young at the time, and yeah, he would have been good, and he's great in certain things. And I love James Woods. You know, what's the one role I was just thinking of? You know what he was great in? I don't want to get off topic. That's why I didn't want to say anything. Getaway, James Woods in The Getaway with Al Caldwell.
That's right.
What was the other one that he just got me on? Anyway, he was, he would have been great, but let's face it, Michael Douglas is the perfect Gecko.
Yeah.
He is.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say the only other major issue that really came with casting was the contentious nature of Daryl Hannah being on set. Daryl Hannah did not want to be in this movie.
she really didn't want to be in this movie? Or?
She did not want to be in this movie, and Oliver Stone has gone on record saying, I wish I would have recast her. I wish I would have just let her out of the deal because she was not happy in the role. And it was Sean Young, who plays Gecko's wife, who also plays Finkel and Einhorn.
Yeah.
In Ace Ventura, oddly enough. But she was also insistent on the fact that, you should probably go ahead and recast her because she's not happy here.
I was surprised. I totally forgot Sean Young was the wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, she plays the like ditzy wife so well, but you would expect Sean Young to do something more meaty.
Mm-hmm.
But gotta work, right?
She's more of a really direct character actor, which this is not really her forte.
Yeah, I didn't think so. If you replace the two, Sean Young could have been the great decorator, and Daryl Hannah could have played the great ditzy role, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Anything else?
I was thinking Stone actually changed shooting from 6 to 8 hour days to 12 to 14 hour shooting days because it was imminent that they were going to have the Directors Guild strike. That happened in the 80s.
That happens.
That was happening. And Charlie Sheen went on record saying, yes, whenever you saw him, he was looking at the script and then looking at his watch.
Funny enough, by the way, I know it's just let's dive in because he's not looking at the watch.
No, as I say, I think you have the
oh no, it's blank screen again for you guys.
No, you have the screen fighter set up again.
We saw it.
That's easy to fix.
Yes,
easy to fix. Now it's cool.
There we go.
All right, so let's dive into this movie. All right. It starts off just putting you in the situation. So you see Bud Fox trying to do his sort of, mundane, trying to get clients and everything. If you don't know the role of what he's trying to do, he has a list of clients that all he wants to do is just get him on board with the brokerage company. That's about it. It's like it's a startup job, but he has ambitions. He's really into this thing. You see all his coworkers. You get introduced to the boss. You get introduced to there's two old guys. There's the one old guy who was in the same role, but really is the haggard guy. And there's the guy who comes in every once in a while who tells like Bud, oh, you should watch out for this. Oh, you're not gonna make it. It's the guy who tells the truth in that particular situation. And he comes in at the start, in the middle, and at the end. And at the end, he's like, Man stares into the abyss, nothing stares back. It's like, what? What did you just say to me? But that I'm just talking about that guy. And by the way, we'll go back and forth in this movie, but we have a sort of timeline we're going to work through. So we get introduction to all that, and of course we get introduction to Bud going towards Gecko. So he wants to get Gecko. Gecko is the guy to get. If you get him, you got the proverbial elephant. Yeah, and we got introduced to his friend as well.
John C. McClune's character Marvin, yes.
Marvin.
Yeah.
Marvin. Like I'm seriously bad with names, so we'll
And
just
honestly,
let that slide.
How old is John C. McGinley? Because he was, I think, in his mid-30s when he was in this movie, and it's 2022, and the man does not age.
Yeah, he's like Keanu Reeves, but when
Point Break. Wait, when he was in Point Break as their boss.
Yeah.
Yes.
Still,
And he always has like an old guy face, or like not an old guy face, like a 39 to 45 kind of face, but up until now he's like 65, something like that.
Yeah, he's
Right?
somewhere in his late 50s, early 60s, but still, it just like good on you, buddy. You haven't aged.
And we also get introduced all this like opening 15-minute scene where you just get the feel of what's going on. You get introduced to the father-son relationship, which carries over throughout the movie with Martin Sheen, his dad, who is a mechanic. He works in an airline. He's an airline mechanic, and of course, you get the interaction with about his poor health. His son has ambitions, and the one line from this talk that it kind of stuck in my mind was being poor is no longer
there's no nobility in poverty.
There's no nobility in poverty. That's the line. It was like, it's the most 80s yuppie line in history, I think. You would hear that particular line all throughout the 80s. It's like Coke, yuppies, and being poor is disgusting. Probably in that order. Right. Moving forward.
I was going to also mention too, with the twinkle in his eye as soon as he gets that first bit of insider trading knowledge, where he jumps on that viciously, where his ambition from the get-go is completely blind. His moral compass does not exist at all.
Yeah.
He eventually does recover it later.
But it did. And it's funny because when he tells him and he says, you get that mischievous look in your eye like when you were a kid, and he still hung on to it, and he hung on to his moral compass a couple times where he said, where Gecko would say, I need new information, I don't care how he's like, well, that's not what I do. He goes, oh, no. He goes, did you buy Teldar paper? He's like, well, no, that would be illegal. He was hanging on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that line was, no, sir, that wouldn't have been legal. And then that's Gecko just laughs. Yeah.
Very no one will blow the whistle on you. And,
that
but it like those are that's the thread when he gets the info and when he's pitching everything else, and then he sees he's about to die on the vine to Gecko, and then he gives it up. He gave up the insider, tries to hang on to it a little later a couple of times, but then just gives it all up.
Exactly.
For me, that's the thread of the character.
But as soon as he does that, you see Gecko's face change into being from his face changes from this guy's a nuisance to, it's like, ding, I got this guy. I got him figured out. I'm going to mold him and he's going to do my bidding because this is cutthroat area. And in the line here, he says, I look at 100 deals a day. I just choose one. And Bud is like, I want to be that one.
And I was going to say what's going to happen to, well, the scene's going to come up, but we already kind of mentioned it, was the conversation when he first mentioned, did you buy Teldar paper? But when he hands him that $1 million check, you could see where all of the alarm bells are just going off, where, oh no, this is the turning point right now.
He's in.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's right. With they're sitting down there. I don't have the exact, it's really hard to pinpoint the exact moment of where he looks at the check, but he calls him at work, and Bud Fox is completely, goes off his rocker, and then he goes to meet him at that restaurant, and he gives him the check, and he also tells him there's perks. And right after this, there's the hooker that comes in, and they go on a ride, let's say, with, again, the Coke, which has to be with Coke, and that was the perks, and that's that's where the bells ring in, and we start off to the races and doing some crazy shit.
And if you look at it too, that scene is so quintessentially Oliver Stone in the 80s. The limo, the prostitute, the cocaine. It's like, come on, Oliver.
But that's, Oliver Stone does these a lot, where he's trying to catch the zeitgeist of the moment. So when we're talking about Platoon, wait a minute, Platoon was Oliver Stone, right? Am I wrong?
Yes.
He captures what was happening on the ground. In this, he catches what was happening on the ground, the nitty-gritty of the yuppie culture or whatever. And he does that throughout his movies. But it's very much of the time. And of course.
But one note I would like to add there too, which Epito, and I think you might agree with me on this, is the fact that the music is so quintessentially Stuart Copeland.
Absolutely.
You might as well be listening to a Talking Heads album. I mean,
thinking David Byrne, and yeah, it is very Talking Heads, and it's very 80s, and it's very electronic. Some of it's very tense. I think the scene that you're showing on the screen there, and I'm hearing the song in my head, and I forget, it's very Devo-esque.
Yes,
with that very, very
I was thinking about it. Yes,
raw guitar, and that's the scene where the market's tanking that day, and everyone's freaking out, and that's where the loss comes in. And then the next scene is they're at the squash club, and playing squash, and he breaks the news to him, and he says, unless your father's on the board at another company, we're gonna have a tough time doing business here. Yeah, there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And he knew
what the key element here is, I don't deal with stock. I deal with information.
Yeah,
I want information.
It has nothing to do with stock.
Yeah,
It has to do with beating the system and cheating.
Yeah,
so,
and when they do that little ride in the limo, it's like it's either you're in or you're out. And when you're in, it's payday. And when you're out,
you find out what he's doing in town and why he's here. And he goes, "Oh, that's not what I do." Yeah. And then he's like, "That's it." He goes, "I don't throw darts at a board. I bet on sure things."
Mm-hmm.
So again, you're not investing. It's two different stories. It's three different stories. It's the story of insider trading, and it explains what it is and how it works. That's the surface. But then it's the story of Gecko, and it's the story of Bud Fox to me, and it's three different things happening at once.
That's very true, Evito. And you know what? Oddly enough, when just rewatching this movie again for the first review again this week, what film this really reminded me of was, oddly enough, Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, Yeah, because it's like, I don't want to do it, but I'm doing it anyways.
Where does the guy give up and sell his soul? That's the question.
Yeah.
Because of mostly ambition. He is driven by absolute just tunnel vision ambition, and he does this. He follows Sir Larry because it's the only way to get information, because I want to get to the money. That's my ambition, to be in the money, but I have to do a little bit of scrupulous things, but it's just watching. It's just like looking where he's going, timing everything and all that.
Well, to be fair, he does technically perform a B&E on The Office.
Not yet. It comes a little bit later. First of all, it's a little taste. It's like with
No,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's two different things, because following him and figuring it out and doing that, is it illegal? Is that illegal?
Not technically putting the pieces together.
Yeah,
Going in a file cabinet and copying a file.
That's
Yes,
the illegal part.
Yeah.
The thing is,
round one for Endicott Steel, is that illegal?
yeah.
Really? How?
No. I said, yeah, it's not. He just followed him around. It's like, and he inferred the information and gave it to Gecko, and Gecko's like, yeah, that kind of fits. Let's buy Endicott Steel and just squeeze him out.
Erie, Pennsylvania. And then they figured it out.
Yeah. So at the beginning, it doesn't seem that bad, but there's that slippery slope and that moral decline of Bud Fox.
It's a moral, but it may not be illegal. That's a whole different podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So,
but then when he's back in the office and he's telling all of his partners, like, by the way, if you want to get your beak wet a little bit, maybe tell your clients to buy into, was it still in Teldar paper, but also Endicott Steel. Buy Endicott Steel to try to up and short sell it. But his mentor, then, the one who is kind of the one moral leaning person, always on the right side of the equation, besides his father, is that one, the other elderly broker in the office there. And what is the first thing he tells him? He goes, well, yeah, you could do something wrong, but also, you can't just get a little bit pregnant.
Yeah, and the other thing that comes in after he gives them the information and they're like off and running to do the deal, one of the things we see is like the chain of things that happening and the sort of leak to the press, which is the most important thing, because the press, what they do is they get tips on a vague kind of thing, and they run with something that kind of either pushes the stock down because all the plebs need to see where stuff is going, or driving it up in this case. But the kind of the people who know already did the move. The people who don't know, they're contributing to the move by pushing the stock forward up or put forward down. Doesn't really matter which way. It depends on where you are at the position. Sorry, that's my investment banker.
Well, then he uses it against them at the end. So in the beginning,
they show us how it works, and then it kind of, that's what I like, where they set up a few things, and then the payoff comes in either in the middle or at the end of the movie. And in this way, they kind of show you how that kind of works, the insider trading, or not really insider trading, but the nuts and bolts of how things work. And then at the end, it kind of pays off with how he set Gecko up.
The setup, and you notice they called it the Wall Street Chronicle, not the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
And Blue Horseshoe loves Endicott Steel, and then he uses it against him at the end with Blue Star.
Blue Star.
And just leaking it to the press. That was the leak line. And it's funny because we could have a third podcast on stocks. So many stocks move on hype and speculation.
Yeah, and
behind it. and you're just looking to grab the move.
The thing with this, I wanted to show just because if people didn't see Wall Street or how it works today, it kind of looks the same, but it's way quieter because nobody's giving slips. You see them slipping all the different papers. Everything now is super electronic. So the guy who gets the papers is the guy who literally has a little box. Kind of looks like a Stream Deck. I'm gonna show it. Like, kind of looks like this, but it has way more buttons on it. And I saw it in a documentary. He literally goes with two thumbs like this: buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. It's super fast. It goes like this. It's amazing. Everything is super electronic. Everything is super secured, and there's not a lot of people running around. It's very, very, very high tech. It really is crazy because if we didn't really cover trading places is about the Chicago stock market, where they deal with commodities, and it's still done in the way they did it before, at least to my knowledge. Where it's like a pit, and there's traders running in, all that, but it more electronic, but it looks the same.
Right. That amazes me when they're all out there and they get the paper. And I
was explaining it to her. I used to call my stockbroker in the late 80s, my cousin. I would call him to get a price on something or to say buy this or sell that, or and you'd get a statement in the mail, and the next morning you would get the paper to see where your stock closed. I buy, sell, trade, and watch on my phone.
Yeah.
Today is super fast, and they literally just do it the same exact thing. So the paper goes to the buyer sells the amount of money. It's the same. It's practically the same, but the buy and sell rate is so fast and so electronic. It's just a guy just matching deals. All he does is just matches deals. Same with what that guy does, but one is with paper and one is electronic, and that's the end of this conversation because it gives me a headache. I just wanted to touch before we're gonna go into the first segment. I'm sorry. Oh, my feelings. I'm sorry. He slept through this whole segment. Never mind. What I wanted to touch upon is
sorry. I was listening to the old men in the room.
Yes. I'm old.
I'm old too. I just look young. I'm like Keanu, but better. Anyway, we get
the best part of F is he's modest.
I'm very modest. We get the second kind of interaction with the old guy where it tells him, look, things are good right now, but you can do good things, and it's like it's your first time. Just don't let it go to your head. Yep. Don't let it go to your head.
That's exactly what I mentioned before was a line from him saying, you may do something wrong, but also, you can't just get a little bit pregnant. You're either once you're in. There's no going back.
All right, we are gonna do a pause because we're gonna do our first segment of the night, and it is called Missing Marquee. What is Missing Marquee for the uninitiated? Missing Marquee is where we take 10 posters, have their text written off, we show them, and our guests will guess which movie this is. Chat participation is most welcome. By the way, if you want me to punch into it, I can do that.
You want to go first, or do you want
to guess what that is?
Yeah.
Yes.
You go first.
That's a Bond movie, and I'm gonna say that one is that one Live and Let Die?
No, it is not. And it is not a Bond movie as well.
Are you kidding?
No. I believe that is it South by Southwest? It's Hitchcock.
It's Hitchcock, and it's North by Northwest. South by Southwest is the
I'm so off.
Yeah.
South by Southwest is the festival.
Yeah.
You want me to move this closer?
No. I'll give you that one.
It's gonna blame it on his glasses.
Rocky Balboa.
No. It is Rocky. It's not Rocky Balboa.
I'm a
Rocky.
Guess.
3?
No, it's not.
No, it's not 3.
This is after Adrian's dad.
Oh,
He's 5, so-
okay.
Yes.
So 5 then.
That's
No,
5.
Yeah,
Correct.
he's right. I was
Yes.
right, dude.
There's a tie-in to that because we have the robot coming up in Wall Street in the review, which I'm going to talk about at length.
I'm glad
I
you
got
got that.
to be honest. It feels good to be right.
This
It
I
feels
know.
good to be right. Yeah.
I'm gonna make fun of him all day for this.
You can have it. Enjoy your victory.
Which movie is this?
This I don't know.
This
I
is.
don't do the fantasy movie. That's
I do some
It's
of them.
not a fantasy movie per se. I think it's more of a horror.
I don't know.
It's actually
No.
oddly enough, it's actually a comic book movie.
It's a comic. Yeah, it's a comic book
Swamp
movie.
Thing.
The
No,
Yep.
that-
Swamp Thing.
don't-
It is Swamp Thing.
it is
yes.
Swamp Thing.
Yep.
Swamp
It
Thing,
is
but
Swamp Thing.
It's not my thing.
But you got
The
it.
birds.
That was one of my
Birds.
favorite
Hitchcock's
movies.
Birds.
Love that movie. The
Oh,
Jaws for Birds.
Oh, I can't see. Who that
You
is.
can't see.
No, it shows up. He's just blind. You know, they just.
I don't have this.
I don't have it.
Oh,
either.
I would love this game too. Can you get more than 10? Because
I have about 450.
no, I don't need that.
Oh, and actually, on the site, Jen, that
Yeah.
that I linked to you, that it has all the previous poster quizzes on there without any of our dialogue, so you can watch those anytime you want to.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Who I give. Who is this? What is this?
This is Gene Hackman.
Oh, you don't see it?
I don't have it.
All right. Feelings?
I do not have this one.
Biffer has it from the chat.
The
It
French
is the
Connection.
French
Okay.
Connection.
Yeah,
Oh.
we can put that there.
Yeah, good.
Good one. Oh, they got the Swamp Thing, the birds. The chat's got it going on.
Yeah, the chat's got it going on.
Chat is where it's at.
This is a newer movie.
It's a really
know
good
feelings
movie
know it.
too.
I know feelings know it. I haven't seen it.
It's The King's Speech.
The King's Speech.
Out of my scope. Outlaw Josie. No. This is
Yes, you're correct. The
Josie
Outlaw
Wells.
Josie Wells.
Yeah.
The original one.
There you go.
Awesome.
Oh, God, I
Last
can't-
one. No, 2 more.
That's my computer.
You want me to punch in?
Yeah, please. It's this big. What I said.
That was like a Bond movie.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
is
Bond.
a Bond movie.
Wait, but it's the submarine. Oh, wait. It's the other. Is this Octopussy?
No, this is not Octopussy.
Somebody put the King's Speech.
That was for the last
Oh.
one. right? No, I remember this where you had the Lotus that went underwater.
Yes, correct.
But it's not Octopussy. It's
It's Roger Moore's best Bond movie, I think, in my opinion. It's
Oh,
his
wait.
best performance.
yes. I have. Wait, don't say it because I have it. It's in my head. I have it. View to a Kill.
No, which is
but that's
a
the
really
best one.
bad movie. He was really old at that point.
What is it?
It is the chat. I'm waiting for the chat because it takes like a while for them to catch up.
To catch up.
I know
Chat doesn't know. Oh, chat is real bad with Bond movies. It is The Spy Who Loved Me.
Loved Me.
It's Barbara Bach.
Oh. This
Oh,
is-
that's
God, one more.
what's his name? Steve McQueen.
Queen.
It is Steve McQueen.
Bullet.
Bullet. Yes, correct. And this is the last one.
MASH.
MASH. Correct. Awesome. Didn't even give the chat a chance.
I didn't do great on this because some of them are out of my.
Now he's going to be frustrated.
some of
No,
them are-
well, actually, to be fair, Effie Tone and Jenny, you guys did better than any guests we've had so far.
Remember, I've set
We got
these up.
one.
Dude,
We got some.
I've set these up months ago. Months ago.
good. We're doing good. I'm so excited for us.
We win something for
Full
that?
shit. Pride.
You win a kiss and a hug anytime I get to the States.
See you at TwitchCon.
Deal. All right, let's go.
All right, cool.
All right.
We're gonna move on into the movie where we have Bud Fox coming to Gordon Gekko's party. So it basically is two parts. One part is where it's down below, and then Larry comes in and they go, to the top floor. But we got a first introduction to Darian. And immediately he's like smitten. And of course, Gekko realized this immediately because either it's suggestively not the first time they do this, or he saw in Bud Fox what he had when Gekko saw Darian for the first time. And what we get from Darian is she's an interior designer, and she basically wastes other people's money.
Great spender of other people's
money. And Gekko does say he can't really afford her at the moment. And of course we get introduction to Sean Young's character, which is the ditzy mom who has a child, but she's not really taking care of the child. Sort of, I would say a Marine County mom, I would say. The best I can describe it. You felt that, didn't you? I love this actor. Please, feelings, tell me, what's the name of this actor?
Terrence.
Terrence something. I always forget his name. I love him in almost everything he does.
Terrence
Stamp.
He was.
The range of this guy is fucking amazing. He was, on the one hand, he was Zod in Superman 2. On the second hand, he was a drag queen in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Both roles, spectacular. Also, in this one, he plays the dry English dude to a T. But he's also a dry businessman to a T.
But what's kind of funny is he's kind of the juxtaposition to the Gordon Gekko, where he has kind of seen the folly of his ways, and he seems to be more altruistic than predatory in his business practices. Like with Alcott Steel, he's actually seems to want to be helping them, and then later with Blue Star, he's coming in to actually help save the company, because he could have just said, I don't care about it. May be good for Gordon Gekko, but me taking him down a peg, but then I'm just going to do the same thing because I could do that very easily.
I think his motivation on the end with Blue Star was to break Gekko, and
yes, most definitely,
and rightly so, and which was key. It was such a key point. So, but yeah, for Endicott Steel, and I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do this. You're driving up the stock. That was you saw he already made his money. So now he still wanted to make money, but he was doing something good there. But I think the Blue Star deal, his sole motivation was to destroy Gekko.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, most definitely. But on the way, he's sort of the moral compass of the movie, where he's in it to do good no matter what. And taking Gordon Gekko along with it is just a bonus to him, because he seems genuine.
I'm going the other way.
Genuine.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
His motivation was to break the guy that was his rival.
Yeah.
Even if he had the deal, and I'm just bullshitting, but even if he had the deal, but he wasn't going to take down his nemesis, I don't think he's interested.
Yeah.
In terms of Blue Star, I would say yes, but in terms of Endicott Steel, I would say.
Well, Endicott Steel, he was on his own. That had nothing to do with Gekko at all.
And Blue Star is just the gotcha.
Yeah,
it's just the gotcha.
It's key.
All right, cool. We got introduced to James Spader's character.
I was so excited when I found out he was in this. I didn't know he was in it, and I was like, wow, because he's great.
I forgot it was him. I thought it was somebody else. But it's kind of a pivotal role because what Bud Fox comes in to do is he comes in to sort of bribe his friend with sort of insider trading, but the real reason he's there is more information because he knows James Spader's character deals with a lot of mergers or like sort of corporate lawyerism or corporate law, and his firm has all these files that is needed to do all these transactions because, you know, lawyers do what lawyers do. But the financial information that they hold is fucking key. And one of the things that happen is he comes in with a proposition and he kind of tests out his sort of his morality, James Spader's morality, but also he gets a lot of key info on, oh, I can get into this, you know, into this firm through the cleaning. And that's the next step after doing the sort of following Larry is actually stealing financial information through that cleaning company.
That the bell went off. I think the bell went off for him at the end of that scene when he said, when he's walking him out and he said, you know, get behind my uncle's door and all the secrets of the world are yours. Mm-hmm. The next scene is he's on the street and he sees the cleaning van, Marsala Cleaning, go into the building and he put it all together. So, you know, he went in with the intention of pumping his college buddy for just surface information. And he left with the idea of stealing files.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and the subplot to that is he opens an account for Spader where he's funneling money for Gecko through that account and paying him the cut. So it was 3 different levels of what was happening with Spader's character.
Yeah. It's information, it's funneling money, and it's trying to seduce his friend to also get in on the action as well. Because he wants him to get on the action as well. He's like, he tells him, look, it's everybody does it. So James Spader recognizes this is insider trading. I can't really do this. This is illegal. Like, and Bud is like,
the first thing he says is, this will get me disbarred.
Yeah.
Immediately.
That
or I'll go to jail.
Talking to another.
Yeah. It's like,
everyone's doing it.
That's everybody's doing it. It's not a big deal. It's like, hey, you want to go get a beer?
Yeah. It was so nonchalant at this point. It was like, oh, you know, Bud Fox is off the deep end and we're rocking and rolling.
He gave him Teldar paper in that scene too.
Exactly. Yes, he gave him Teldar paper as well. And of course, Bud Fox does well because he literally copied all those files and gave it to Gecko's men or whatever. It's like, okay, now I can trust you with the big bucks.
I have to give credit to Stone and Weiser, how they play that whole scene off. Because he sees just the cleaning truck going in. Then what does he immediately do? He uses the dividends that he gained from the previous deal with Gecko to invest in the company in order to actually have a front to go in and steal the information.
Yeah.
You need 5. You have 5 vans. You need 8. You know.
Yep.
And he does it like slick moves. It was super slick because the guy he was talking to was just, you know, just a mom and pop.
Are you telling me what I already know?
Yeah. So we see Gecko trusting Bud Fox with more than $1 million, let's say. And he gives him basically his account in sort of escrow, I would say. So
this is where all of the alarm bells should have been going off in Bud Fox's head. Because by the way, Saul Rubinek is a a fantastic actor. He plays Harold Salt, the lawyer.
attorney.
Yeah, he's been in so many things. Lately, he's more of a character actor than anything else, but he's a fantastic actor. But he's essentially telling him throughout the conversation, had Bud Fox been so blindly ambitious, he could openly hear the fact that, by the way, this is all on you now. You have power of attorney. If anything goes wrong, it goes right to you.
The ticket stops with you. We have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah. We have no liability whatsoever. This was your call.
Going down. He tells them.
Yeah.
And he still goes out and, like, because the ambition is so blinding, he just goes into it. And he says that line where I never knew how poor I was until I got some money. So, right. Moving on, because it's getting deep, dark, and dingy. Of course, Bud Fox does a lot of, brings a lot of cash.
Oh,
and
boy.
his boss suddenly, come in. Let's have you within the office. You're a big shot now. And his friend's character comes in. It's like, oh, I'm calling you Mr. Cocksucker now.
Yeah.
I love that part. It's like, oh, it's Mr. Cocksucker now. But his boss always goes with the flow. So when Bud Fox gets caught, he's like, I always knew this guy was
wrong with you. Yeah.
There was something wrong with you. It's like,
The minute I laid eyes on you, I knew you were no good at the end. In the beginning, the minute I laid eyes on you, I knew you were great. And yeah.
And of course, he goes out and gets a new apartment and gets Darian to furnish that apartment.
That realtor, by the way.
Shows up in the sequel.
Yes.
She shows up in the sequel? I haven't seen the sequel.
Yeah.
I just saw the picture of like Michael Douglas and Shia LaBeouf, and I said, nope. Is this sequel any good? Okay, I can hear the crickets.
You know what?
It's okay.
And I'm anti-sequel. And it was okay.
I'll be right back.
Usually I'll say the sequel sucks. This sucks. Don't remake this TV show. Don't make a sequel to this movie or that movie.
Yeah.
It was fair. And, Michael Douglas, I don't want to talk about the movie, but the Michael Douglas character is a big part of it. And his daughter is a big part of it. And it's like, it's basically like the next generation of, so the daughter and the Shia LaBeouf character are basically Charlie Sheen and Darian. It's the next generation of. But, and there's funny because Charlie Sheen has a cameo.
Yep.
Like briefly. It's literally 30 seconds in the movie.
Okay. Was it like in Hot Shots Part 2 when they both point to each other and say, I loved you on Wall Street?
No, because Wall Street was so good. Wall Street to me as a movie fan and I love certain types of movies. Wall Street was so good. You don't touch it. But is it a good story in Part 2? I mean, good enough. If you had nothing else to do, maybe.
Yeah. I would say, again, it fits that whole concept of Meffistoe where you have to pose the question, did this story need to be told?
Right. Do you need to go further? Could it have ended there with Wall Street? Absolutely. Did the next story need to happen? No. And if it does, it should have been more of the continuation of the Douglas character and the Charlie Sheen character instead of here's, the new broker on the street and the daughter of basically recreating the two roles. So it could have been great, but it wasn't. But I get it. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
You want my opinion?
Yeah.
I can give you plenty of other sequels that should have never happened.
He's got a list.
Oh, I've got a list too.
Yeah.
I've got a
and
list
some
too.
sequels which were great. that kept going, and they kept the story going, and they were worth it. This was, the first one was so good that the second one wasn't worthy of the first.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Jumping in, we've got a montage of Darian and Bud Fox. They're like making love. They're going to auctions. They have all the little doodads and knickknacks to make like either Italian food, or I had it up on screen. The sushi thing
The sushi thing
was really started in the 80s, right? The craze of, oh, it's not just like raw fish, it's so much beyond. But yeah,
Think
all
of
that
scene, though, the other premium in that scene was Haagen-Dazs, which now
Yes. Yeah.
premium ice cream today is just normal. That's all you
Right.
buy. But
Yeah.
back then, it was like, it was like Haagen-Dazs. That was it. It was Ferrari and then all the other car companies. So the Haagen-Dazs scene, she takes it out, she puts it in the microwave, and they have 3 of them in the freezer.
I cringed so much, so hard when she put it in the fucking.
How about the CD player? Remember the CD?
Yeah,
player?
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It's the 80s CD player.
But the whole point of that whole scene is, here's the excess of the day.
Yes.
Gecko's cell phone, when he's on the beach, the giant brick cell phone.
Yeah, when he tells him go to work. Yeah, it's time
I
to
just
work.
wired you 800,000 in Hong Kong gold. Go, wake up, blah, blah, blah. But what's funny is the opening scene of Wall Street 2, without ruining a subpar movie. Like when, every scene when you get out of jail, they give you back, one watch, one this.
Yeah.
So they gave him the phone?
They got one cell phone, and you see the giant cell phone.
Oh, no. That kind of steals the deal of me not watching that movie. All right, we move on to Teldar Paper. And this scene, I love this scene so much because when I watched it the first time, I kind of didn't know why Gecko is muscling everybody there. But of course, after being a little bit older and a little bit wiser, everyone in the audience is the stockholders.
Stockholders meeting.
They want money off the fucking company. They don't care how they get it. They don't even care if Gecko breaks it. They just want either their dividends or their share of the cash. But
Can I just say, I'm going to mention this also in the wrap up. Watching this film gave me so many PTSD flashbacks at business school because I knew way too many people who took the wrong message from this film.
Yeah. But this is almost I think this is the famous line of the movie, right? Greed, and lack of a better word, is good.
Which they edit for the trailer. So in the scene, for lack of a better word, is the line. But in the trailer, the famous trailer, the line is greed is good. Period.
Yeah.
Also in kind of one of my edits. Never mind. You'll see. It's really interesting because from his point of view, not to take too much of it, his point of view is like, look at all the excess that the company is doing because they have too many vice presidents and they're wasting too much of our money, blah, 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 blah. But in actual fact, all he wants to do is take over the company, break it down into parts, rob the fucking cash, and just leave because there's nothing there to do. He's really not looking at the people, the manufacturing, but he is using the manufacturing, the working class, all that against whoever controls the company. And it kind of riles up the CEO as well. It's like, oh, you Gecko, you're a shyster or whatever.
Cromwell was the
Cromwell, yes.
Yes.
I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can give you the most minutia bullshit little things of what restaurants they were at in New York and where that corner is. Cromwell, Marv, all the guys. This is shit that just sticks with me for some reason with certain movies that I love. Movies that I'll watch 100 times. Like if Wall Street was on tonight and I was flipping channels, I would watch it.
That's awesome.
It's one of those movies.
Well, and this too, wasn't this really the height of Reaganomics too?
Oh yeah.
It was really all the concept of where it all came down to really personal responsibility. And looking back on it now, it doesn't seem like it quite makes sense. But at the time, the mindset was all just about, again, just go, go, go. Excess wasn't excess. It was now just attaining a new level. And you should do that because you should work for that. And you earned that because you worked to get there. And
you should work for it, and legally you should earn it, and you should work hard. And it is, listen, we live in a capitalist society. So, I sell guitar parts for a living. I sell guitars and guitar parts. I want to sell as many and as much as I can because they're good, or I think they're good, or I'm going to tell you why they're good. You can't beat the system, but the whole Reaganomics era of let's all do better and greed is good is not necessarily that terrible, in my opinion, because I'll jump ahead. When they have the meeting at Sheen's apartment and the father comes here.
I already read your mind, man.
And he says to him, they're pitching, why he should take the airline, and they're pitching, why they should do this. And everyone's all for it. And obviously Martin Sheen's like, yeah, you're only in this for the money. And the ultimate line was, and he said, anything worth doing is worth doing for money. What's wrong with that? So it's not greed is good. And it's not, enough is enough. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing for money. I sell guitar parts for money. I want to sell as much as I can. I don't want to steal from you. I don't want to come to your house and, put a guitar under your bed and take your credit card. However, but if anything worth doing is worth doing for money, what and where do you stop? Why do you stop? And when he said anything worth doing is worth doing for money, I don't think that's bad.
I don't think that's bad too, but it, like with everything, it can always get twisted into something really
easily
immoral or
that's where the
reprehensible. I don't want to use like it.
I'm in agreement.
It could be fucked up beyond all recognition. It could be super foobarred, but it can also drive something good. It really is down to the people who run the system. So Larry, as we take Larry for this, Sir Larry, he might have been Gecko at some point, like we said, but now he's sort of a force for, I wouldn't say good, but to contribute to society, to make the money, to work for the money, to get a lot of money, but also not to humiliate people or treat them as nothing, as pawns in sort of a game.
I would say he's not a philanthropist, but he's more altruistic than he was in his past.
I'm going to go against both of you, and I'll tell you why.
Oh no, please.
Because the only do-gooder thing he did was Endicott Steel, and he's going to turn the company around. Because when they had the meeting at Gecko's house, Gecko reminds him of 10 other deals where he came in, laid off 6,000 workers at Janssen.
Yeah, exactly what I meant. Exactly. He was once
Gecko. But so the only do-gooder thing you have on Sir Lawrence is ANC. That's it. So you can't paint him as the do-gooder. Blue Star was to destroy his rival.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
For a fact, according to the script, that he destroyed all these other companies by taking them over and breaking them up and selling them. So even though he became the tool for Bud Fox to get back at Gecko, doesn't make him good.
Yeah, because wasn't it, what didn't Gecko say, was it before you got that, was it fancy title, you were just like me but worse?
Before the Queen started calling you Sir.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's right.
I told you I used this information.
Yep.
The thing is, Bud Fox's dad already caught on to whatever Gecko's trying to do.
He was on to everyone.
And
He was
when
on-
they have
he
the
was
conversation
trying-
in the elevator, he's like, he's got you, kid. He's got you in his back pocket.
got your
And
prick
we
in
know
the-
it. We know it. But he, as a character, he recognized what is really going on. And he kind of wrecks the deal, but not really, because he does follow along with it, because the next scene is Bud Fox coming to James Spader, and he's all, slick, the slick back hair rather than the hair a little bit more disheveled. He is got a better suit and everything. He's got the shades inside the office. So we know he's like the slick dude now. He's into the thing. And the whole conversation is James Spader knows Stockwatch is like looking at the trades. They may have been onto him. We need to like cool it down.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Effie Tone. Didn't he mention the fact that the SEC had called his office?
Yeah, he said,
Yes.
"Don't worry, Gordon's getting checked all the time. Relax."
And he's like, "Well,
come up with
I'm the man in the shadows. You have no." They have
yeah,
no
right.
idea."
He goes, "Good for you."
It's
Yeah.
yeah. And then of course he's like, "Oh, let's go into the meeting where they're dealing with Blue Star. Are you're only the CEO?
You're the president
of the company.
of the company.
President of the company."
Yeah, he didn't know.
And he goes in, and all they're talking about is breaking down everything, selling all the fucking planes out to other airlines, and of course coveting the $75 million in the pension fund, which will create, they say between 80 and 100 million or something like, 70 and 80 million in terms of profit for about 6 days or 10 days or a month or something like that.
He goes, "Your boy really did his homework."
Exactly.
You have the shortest executive career since that Pope got assassinated.
They did. Yep.
I love that line so much. And of course,
I think that was then too where Bud Fox had that crisis of conscience, where he realized that
it
there,
zooms into his face as he gets that crisis.
Yeah,
it really zooms in.
So it takes you into him going corrupt, and then it takes you out of him coming back, because the next scene is the heart attack scene.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's right.
The father has a heart attack, and now you see him coming back.
Yeah.
He had the blow up with Darian, where he basically confronts her and says, "Well, I understand now where I stand. I'm no longer the golden boy, and if I don't stand with Gecko, then I mean nothing to you, and I'm basically worthless to you if I'm not with him." So
yeah, and she goes, "Yeah, you're right.
You're right."
She goes, "If you make an enemy of Gecko, I can't stand by you."
Exactly. They do. I'm not sure where it is, but there is a scene where Gecko and Darian walk down the streets
after the art auction.
Yeah. And they're talking, and Gecko kind of says to Darian, "Well, you're like me. You're not like Bud Fox. He doesn't understand who he's dealing with." And it kind of
reveals that Gecko and Darian were together before.
Yeah, it reveals that they were together.
Let's get a suite at the Carlisle, like old times. Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Come on, those days are over." And you've been around the block. He hasn't, is the line.
Yeah.
Don't fall too hard.
And of course, Bud Fox
doesn't Darian say that she mentioned something about how she's falling in love with Bud?
Yeah.
Gecko mentions that. Wow. It was like, well, that doesn't he mention the fact that that's one of the biggest lies that you could ever fall for?
Is love in the world that keeps people from jumping out of windows.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
I told
you. Right. We're having Effie going back.
Yeah. No
That's
worries, man. Not a worry for me.
Don't know what I went for lunch yesterday.
Bud Fox comes into he's at this point he's broken. His everything got shattered around him. Now he sees the real world, quote unquote, what is happening around him. So he goes to Gecko and is like, why do you want to wreck this particular company? And he said, it's like, it's wreckable. It's wreckable. That's how you make your money. I don't care about running a company. I'm not in this to run a company. And one of the lines later in the conversation is, I do not create anything. I own. Right. And that's kind of the last thing that
perception price of a paper. Yeah.
The last vestige of that word. The last, let's say the last chink in the armor that kind of fell and is like, oh, he is definitely not my sort in terms of like what I wanted to accomplish. That is not the way I wanted to accomplish the same goal, getting money or lots of money. And that kind of cascades into Bud Fox sticking it to Gecko, basically. This, when he leaves the office, is like the tie is loose and the kind of gears running, is like, I don't like Gecko, or I'm going to get back at Gecko for whatever he's doing to my dad, basically. It's not Blue Star. It's basically his dad. He fucked over his dad. Now he's going to get it. Period. All right. We're going to do a full stop because the last basically scene is that, or the last couple of scenes is that. So we're going to jump in to our second segment of the night, which is, wait, here we go. There, and they're always perfect, Meph. Always perfect. The next segment of the night is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
And what is Screen Fighter? Screen Fighter is simple. We take two movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, if it's really bad movies, really good movies, we fall on our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with your significant other. Two movies are in front of us, only two in a vacuum. Which one is the best one, or will we just watch it? So, first two, chat participation.
Please.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I'm going.
Or Silent Hill.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is classic.
Feelings?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
We are at unison.
Close.
The chat is with unison with us as well. Slumdog Millionaire or The Tall Guy? Have you guys seen The Tall Guy?
I haven't seen Tall Guy.
No, but I've seen
it's Jeff Goldblum, Emma Thompson.
Really?
By
Rowan
default,
Atkinson.
you have to go Slumdog.
We'll have to watch it.
Click under
Right.
haven't seen it for him, Meth, on this one. Get a reroll.
Okay. No worries.
Oh,
Adam's Family Values. That's the second one.
Yes.
Oh, Slumdog Millionaire.
still have to go with Slumdog.
Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah,
Are we in unison? Yes, we are.
Oh, that was good. I liked that. I like that one.
Terminator Salvation or Clue. Now, both really bad movies.
Clue was. I never even remember that being a movie.
So again,
it's
before.
It's
Why bother?
Wait, I don't.
Yeah.
Do 1985 Clue.
Because
The
John
It's
Cleese
got-
was the major name in that one. If I'm not
no,
mistaken.
Madeline Kahn was in this. There's like Tim Curry's in this, I think.
In a bit part, yeah.
Yeah, they all have like bit parts. They're all playing the characters from the game Clue, and
Right.
it just doesn't work. However, Terminator Salvation is a movie that needs to be burned.
They could probably make a movie out of that. Oh, I could see that movie.
I'm gonna go with Clue just because it's very campy.
I'll go Terminator just on default of what a shitty idea Clue is.
Did you know in Monopoly, all the streets are named after the streets in Atlantic City?
Did I know? Of course I know.
Making sure.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
for me, Monopoly, most of the streets are like streets in cities in Israel. So
Our house is Ventnor Avenue.
Yeah, we
So-
have it's all there, and it's kind of a shitty area. Don't you
Go
think?
ahead.
All right, go. Sorry.
Feelings? Feelings? Which one?
Oh,
I can.
I'm gonna have
I
to
can
go
see
with
it.
Clue on this one because I
With
like
Clue
actually
on this one. Chat says Clue.
Jessica.
It's Clue.
I would have watched Clue.
Jessica.
Really watched Clue?
No.
Oh man.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I haven't seen it. It's a Coen Brothers movie. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I like Shrek.
All right. Shrek on What Women Want.
I'm going to tell you, What Women Want was actually kind of funny
I'm going Shrek.
and cute. What Women Want, let me give you the concept.
I
of it.
saw it with you.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you
Oh
didn't.
my god, you're such a
We've
liar.
never watched
You
it.
totally did.
I'm telling you.
You're on drugs.
Like Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt, and they talk. But so like while they're talking, you hear her thoughts coming through.
Oh, maybe we were gonna watch it. And I was like, yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, we never watched.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
It's a good movie. The
cute.
concept is really
But
good.
Shrek is great.
Shrek is great.
Shrek is great. I saw
I'm gonna
it.
go with Shrek.
I
So-
saw it yesterday. I'm
I'll
gonna
go-
go with Shrek, even
Yeah.
though I kind of dig What Women Want.
It was cute.
But it kind of to me it falls apart at the end. I didn't like the ending.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch that 15 minutes of that and you get it.
But now I won't watch anything Mel Gibson's in.
Well, me neither. He's
No,
a
it's
shit.
worth a watch.
If you could read my thoughts right now,
Oh yeah, Mel Gibson issues.
that's
big time.
what happens. All right, what do you guys say?
Feelings? I'm going with Shrek.
I have to go with Shrek as well. Just
Shrek.
because it also set
Chat
up
chat says What Women Want. So we're
Really?
going with Shrek. Yeah. The one person who voted, that's the chat to me.
Oh,
E.T. or Cougar Club.
Oh,
Never even heard of
Nothing's
Cougar.
Top
I've never seen it.
E.T.'s amazing.
All right.
yeah, re-roll again. Re-roll it.
No, I'm gonna keep it.
Okay.
Until someone
Keep it.
votes for Clue.
E.T.
Yeah,
Is this?
E.T.
Somebody's E.T. I'm
The
gonna
chat-
go with
Yeah.
Clue because I hate E.T.
You hate E.T.?
I hate E.T. It's me and a few others I know. Whip It and Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Have you
Oh,
guys
great.
seen Whip It? I have seen Whip It.
I haven't seen any
It's
of them.
No, and
I
it
have.
doesn't
Disastrous.
matter because Monty
It's
Python-
It's Elliot
what's her name?
Page
It's
now.
Ellen Page. Well, Elliot Page now, but it used to be Ellen Page. It
Yeah.
sucks balls. This movie, by the way. Now
Well,
she's
It's
really
all
sucking
just about
balls, so it's
roller derby. That's
Yeah.
that's it.
all for it, but Holy
I
Grail's a
love that
classic.
sex balls.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Not even
American Psycho and Goodfellas.
Not
You know,
even-
oddly enough, Meth, I was going to mention American Psycho earlier because when you mentioned mergers, and the first thing I always think of is American Psycho. It's like I'm into
Really?
murders and and executions. How is that?
You're a good fellas.
What?
guy.
Mergers and acquisitions?
Yeah.
Then Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. What do you say, Tone?
Goodfellas, 100%.
Okay. Feelings?
Goodfellas, my favorite gangster film. of
Ooh,
all time.
landslide with the chat.
Yeah.
Spice World. Don't tell me you haven't seen it. Or My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
I've seen them both.
Sadly, I have seen it.
I've only seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Greek
Okay.
Wedding. Amazing.
Should I watch Spice World?
No,
No.
Greek Wedding's a great movie.
Feelings?
Not even.
Oh, you
close.
know what? Though? I never saw the movie. I only saw the play. For My Big
I
Fat-
have to give it to My Big Fat Greek Wedding because it's actually one of the most profitable independent films that was ever made. And it's
I
one of
saw
the
the
Yes.
earliest,
It's
like
great
really
movie.
big indie films.
Reluctantly, it's My Big Fat Wedding.
Yeah, I like that.
Last pairing. I don't think I have seen it. Have you seen this one? Capricorn one? I don't think I've seen it. So
I remember.
re-roll. Oh, good one. I've
We
seen
just talked
this
about this last week.
this week. I've seen it this week. It's
No, you know what?
terrible. It's
Yeah.
god awful.
This is a lose-lose. I'm gonna watch. I usually throw nuts in my backyard, and I watch the squirrel eat them and bury them. But
Okay.
I'm gonna go with watching the squirrel in my backyard on this one. Fred, you named the
I named the
squirrel.
squirrel Fred. He's upset. He buys like organic acorns for the thing.
I throw him nuts and stuff.
Right. And the choice between two evils.
Fred. The squirrel.
Fred the Squirrel.
Flip a
Feelings?
coin, it doesn't matter. It's lose-lose for me.
Feelings?
I would have to go with the King of Comedy just because I think Red Dragon is a bastardization of Manhunter. It's awful.
I agree. Red Dragon is shit. King of Comedy, I thought it had connections to Joker. After watching it, no, it doesn't. It does not. That'll be the end of that segment.
That was
Cool.
fun.
Yeah.
Yep. That is fun. That's why we have it. That's why we have it. It's to make it's a little bit of levity. It's like you're dealing with the same movie throughout, and you need a little bit of stop and pause and talk about other movies and how shitty they are or how good they are. All right. We are at the end. Bud Fox is angry. He is righteous, and he will do anything to bring down Gordon Gekko. So he has the conversation with Darian. Darian kind of says, well, if you're against Gekko, you're against me, so go fuck yourself. Goodbye. He goes to meet his dad, and then he goes and he tells him, I need your approval to do this, and I will sit down with your people and I will talk with your voice. And
I was going to mention, I was holding off on this one behind the screen segment that I didn't mention because this makes it so much more impactful. When Charlie Sheen was given the role, he was given the option to either have Martin Sheen, his father, play the Fox Sr., or Jack Lemmon. Charlie Sheen obviously chose his father.
yeah,
the scene with them in the hospital room, the emotional weight in that scene is palpable because they actually are father and son.
Yeah, that was big. Yeah.
To be fair, I saw a lot of personal outside of the movie stuff being dealt with using the words of the script. It felt very much like that. It felt very much like that. When Martin Sheen was, look at this, when he's crying, it seems like they're dealing with something completely different using words that are in the script, which is phenomenal. And then, of course, I did mention it in Hot Shots. They did that thing. I fucking love that part. Have you probably seen it, right?
Yes.
It's fucking. I really want to go watch this movie now. So they deal with. He deals with the unions. He kind of tells them what he wants to do. Then he goes to Sir Lawrence, and he's not calling him Larry because Gekko called him Larry. He calls him Lawrence, and then he said, "Can I call you Larry?" And he's being dismissive, and they tell him all the plot. But the one thing that interests him is like fucking Gekko over, but he still wants to own and operate the company. And I think it's one of the pilots, like the guy who represents the pilots. He says, I want an ironclad contract so you cannot break up Blue Star if you own it, to really close the deal. And he kind of says yes.
Yes, but then again, also to Effie-Tone, to your point before, had this not been going against Gordon Gekko, he would have laughed him out of his office.
I agree.
No.
Yeah. No, I agree too. That's the incentive for the deal. The whole incentive is like screwing over Gekko. Yeah. All right. So
and for Sir Lawrence, his incentive is. For Charlie Sheen, it's to make right with his father.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. I'm saying for Sir Lawrence, that's the incentive to screw over Gekko. And Bud Fox's incentive is saving his dad's job, basically. And of course, in the middle of this whole trading day is the union reps coming in, bursting open, telling Gekko that they're onto him about him breaking up the company. and they're not going to have it, and they're not going to sign with him the deal that they promised to sign. And when they leave, Gecko is being annoyed, not because the deal's falling apart, it's because they got the information. Like, he wants to know who told him about the information, who let them know, because we've got a sinking ship or a leaking ship, and we need to fix it. Next. The conversation between Bud Fox and Gecko. I just want to get to that particular point.
Well, I was going to mention too, real quick, was the after the full fallout of Gecko losing the money, and then when Gecko calls Bud and flat out says, "Oh, that's the scene. I can't believe. Don't get emotional. What you said, you once told me. Don't get emotional about stock, Gordon. Don't."
Yeah, and that kind of he flips it on Gecko's head, but
But then what he signed before comes back to bite him, because again, he was so blinded by ambition, he wasn't actually paying attention to what he had signed away, when anybody could have, from Gecko's organization, could have blown the whistle on the trades that Bud Fox had done about the insider trading, and it all would have went directly on Bud Fox's head, because he had the power of attorney. He was the one who was the one pivotal player in all of it, and he signed away his rights from the beginning.
Yeah. And when he comes to the office the next day, the one guy who greets them before it goes into the abyss is that old guy who is like, "Oh, man looks into the abyss and nothing looks back," and and he goes,
and everyone in the office as well,
and everyone in the office, it feels like somebody died. It feels like death.
The receptionist Carolyn, when he walks in,
yeah,
"Good morning, Carolyn." They always had a quick banter. And then Marv, when he said to Marv, he goes, "What did somebody?"
It feels like somebody died. You're like, yeah, somebody did.
Yeah, secret handshake, and then he goes. But that classic line that's funny. That looks like my friend Scott, the cop, Scotty. When Scotty used to have a mustache, I used to always say that was him. But the funny line of that whole scene is when he walks into his office finally, and he sees the SEC stock watch and the cop. And he goes, "I guess you guys aren't here to open an IRA."
IRA, are you?
Yeah.
And then his boss immediately tells him, "Well,
yeah, it flips on him again."
"The moment I laid eyes on you, I knew you were no good."
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what I've got.
There it is.
Yeah, exactly. And
can't remember what you had for lunch yesterday, but sir, you got this film back and forward.
I wish I was this good at school. When I was a kid, I would run NASA today. Sorry, it's my limit.
You know what? I told my mother the same thing.
Yep.
And because I like the fact that when they did take Bud Fox out, it takes him a little while, because they are marching him outside. He suddenly dawns on him that he's like going to prison. So he starts crying profusely because he got caught, but you kind of knew you were going to get caught, right?
It's the walk of shame.
It's a walk of shame, yeah. And it kind of suddenly hits him how bad things are going. So he just, like a little kid, he just cries. He's not sobbing. He's just like this.
At the end, he was falling apart. And then he says, "So long, Carolyn." And he says,
"Yeah, I love."
Just like very nonchalant. It's like the RA line.
Yep.
There's a couple little work-ins there.
And then we get the last conversation where Bud Fox is being very passive, and we only kind of knew it once the conversation is over. But when it's happening, I want to get to, let's say, Michael Douglas's face. When he punches him and he puts him on the floor of Central Park, he's like, "I gave you what you have. I gave you Darian. I gave you money. I gave you everything. And you still fucked me over." Yeah. And of course, Bud Fox doesn't really say much, right? He doesn't say much, and then of course you see him walk to that restaurant, goes into the FBI,
great place to
and
eat.
Yeah, the SEC or the FBI, and he gives them. It's like, there we go. I've got exactly today. I'm good. You did a good thing, Bud. Just travels from the guy to Bud Fox, and Bud Fox looks broken. He looks physically broken, not because he got punched, but he just seems out. He's out of it. Seems like he did it just on a whim. And the last scene is him talking to his dad on the way to what I think is the court, right? Court or the Supreme Court of New York. You tell me.
Courthouse, Lower Manhattan.
Yeah.
And,
right?
It's regular court. And yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The front of this was featured in Law and Order a lot of times. Is that correct?
Probably, but I wasn't a Law and Order guy.
Okay.
So many locations in this movie I've seen in so many other movies, like a lot of the fronts that I know, and the places around the city. I spend a lot of time in New York, where I'm right outside of New York. I've been going there my whole life. But yeah, that was interesting. Some of that stuff was shot in World Trade Center, and you could tell where it was.
Yeah,
a lot of it was the Palm, the original Palm.
I think
in the Palm.
In the movie itself, they have shots of the city itself, so you can see. It's very much of the time you can see the World Trade Center,
and they were
in the skyline
at the time. It was a big deal.
Yeah,
that's
Meffistoe, what were you saying about the Palm?
There's two scenes at the Palm restaurant. One where he's with Darian, like, I want to make some money and drive my motorcycle across China. But then there's another meeting where he meets with, remember the other guy, not the lawyer, but Gecko's other guy. It's the only other scene where he talks. He was in the office, he was on the plane, and he was at the Palm, and they exchange an envelope. And you could tell it's the Palm by the caricatures on the wall in the Palm.
Oh, right.
Where my character is on the wall in the Palm.
Yes, he's on the wall.
But they in New York, and they have it, but that's the original one. Two different scenes, and you can tell they were shot at the same time. Basically, I think almost at the same table. But one where he hands off info to Gecko's guy, and it's quick. It's like 2 seconds. They're at lunch, and he hands him the info.
I'm trying to pinpoint it on my thing, but it's not like I can move a dial and get to that specific point. But yeah, I know exactly what scenes you're talking about.
And if you want to also add to the montage scenes where everything blurs together, Oliver Stone always works himself into his own movies in a cameo.
Yeah.
So when the Blue Star stock is going crazy, and you see like the split screen of everyone happening, and Oliver Stone is like a broker or a trader in one of those scenes, and he goes quick, and he puts himself in everything. Put himself in JFK, puts himself just literally for 2 seconds, 3 seconds in and out.
Yeah, I know. It's one of his shticks, sort of a Stan Lee thing, but better, a little bit better. All right, and
it's almost like a Tarantino-esque sort of thing, but it doesn't go as far as Tarantino does, where he actually has to have at least a couple of lines in every single film that he makes.
Well, Tarantino needs to say the N-word in each and every single movie he's in.
That's true too.
I told the other day for her,
my God.
And she's like, I don't get this. And off topic. I said the first time I saw Pulp Fiction, I thought it was the worst movie I ever saw.
Really?
And today, it's probably in my top 5. Because I understand it and I've seen it 100 times, and I get how it goes. And I remember when it came out, and everyone was raving about how good it was. And I watched it in a hotel. I go, this is the dumbest movie ever. What these people don't know what they're talking about. And then I watched it again, like by a fluke, like laying on the sofa on a Sunday afternoon, and I'm going, wait a minute. Well, that ties to that. Oh, I see how this goes together, how that goes together. And then when you do it 50 times, you're like, holy shit, this is genius.
I kind of had the same thing with Big Lebowski. When I watched it the first time, I was like, I think this is good, but I'm not sure. And after watching it fucking 50, 60 times already, I think on my chart is like number 3.
It's
Because
funny.
I do have a 1 in 20 chart.
It's funny how that works, and it can work that way for music, for movies, for art, for anything, and it's all subjective. And your
Yeah.
opinion is your opinion. I could give you 100 songs, and you might like 2 of them, but you're going to listen to them differently than I listen to them. We're going to watch a movie differently than most people would, and it's funny because some people will watch something and go, "This is great." I want to know, why do you think that's great? What makes it great? And then I start. It's like when someone gives you a restaurant recommendation, and you go and it's terrible, and maybe you had a bad night or whatever. But I'm like, why did I listen to that person? What makes them so good to give me a movie or an album or a restaurant, or pick your poison? So why? And in the end, it is subjective. And you know whose answer is right? Yours.
Yeah,
Because
mine.
if you like it, it's good. And if I don't like it, it doesn't matter. You still think it's good. And that's for everything. That goes for everything.
Exactly.
Taste is selective.
All right. Let's do a wrap up. Let's do a summation. I'll start this time. Usually I give it to all my feelings, but I'll start this time. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, watching it again. Watched it when you haven't seen it, but I do a little thing. You're gonna see it in a little bit. But I do a little short edit of the movie and kind of give you the highlights of what was in it. And watching it and then watching it critically, I would say, which is the first time in the context of the podcast, when we do a rewatch, I normally don't do watches where I do it critically. I start to watch it to enjoy it, and then I kind of watch it critically, and I see things that I like in terms of, oh, the cinematography is this, and the character is this, and the story is this, and I kind of pick up things not that I haven't seen before. I have, but it kind of reminds it and brings it up to, the consciousness to, oh, it's recent in my mind, and thoroughly enjoyed every single minute of it. This is the movie that kind of almost propelled me to be an actual like consultant, like in stock consultant. Actually was on the way to being certified because of this movie, because of another movie, because of Trading Places. Love those movies. Love the interactions. And loved Oliver Stone's take on it. He has, like we said, a very specific take on, I want to capture the zeitgeist. So in one movie, you have stocks, Reaganomics, yuppies, even down to what I said before about the sushi thing was very prominent, and it was very specific. And it was thorough enjoyment from start to finish. Feelings?
Actually, I was gonna toss it off to Jenny and Meffistoe.
I want to hear what Jen says about this, because you
Yes.
watched this for the first time.
Okay, no, because he knows more about it.
No, I'm serious. I want her take, like we said,
about
as
it.
a first time watch.
Well, it was funny because I learned a lot about the trading, and it actually made me want to go to E-Trade.
Well, sidebar. So
That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Okay.
No.
Oh,
I just got her in. Forget that we watched the movie, and I've been doing that my whole life, but I just got her in, and it took a little of like coaxing and guiding her to get in to the market. Obviously,
Okay.
there's no insider information. I'm like,
But the movie made
you buy.
Yeah, we're all on the outside in terms of Gordon Gekko. But yeah, Jen,
but I think the movie got me, you know, thinking about things like that. And I thought the insider trading, I thought, you know, it's stuff that you always hear about, but when you see it in the movie, it kind of it was very exciting. It was very adrenaline. And then I think that got me even more of that world. Like, look how exciting that is. Look at like how cutthroat that is. But yet they're doing it like this. And here I am, I'm pressing a button on my phone.
Wait, and you check your account at the end of every
And I
day
check my
now.
account at the end of every
Yeah.
day. I mean, $1,000 in a week.
it's that simple. It is literally that simple.
No, it's not.
But I did think it was. I thought the movie was exciting. But even to me, the details of even the clothing, how it was different. Like I remember my dad with those suspenders.
Yes.
The hair of Charlie Sheen, and how Charlie Sheen actually looks better now. He aged better than younger, I think. But he just the clothing in general and the attitude, like I felt like the way they dressed stated a lot of their work ethic, like, you know, how they were. I think they said a lot by presentation.
Yeah, quintessential 80s.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the hair, everything, and it was just. And Charlie's a baby. He's like a
baby. Feelings.
I was gonna say, Effie Tone.
I
guess go first.
It's funny for me because I'll bullet point this. That's one of my favorite movies. I love the movie, period. Great movie, great actors, great plot, great story, done. But like every movie, so for me personally, 60s, 70s, 80s, it's a sign of the times. So when I watch a 60s movies and you see, you know, the technology, the fashion, the clothes, 70s, same thing, 80s, you know, when I was a teenager, when you see that, for me, any movie, it takes me back to a period of my life that I could relate to. Now you want to throw in stocks and trading and this and that, which I like to do. So I'm very interested and it takes me back. But I like that movie when it came out, you know, when I was a kid. And I like those kinds of movies. But that movie was so well done.
Yeah.
So perfect of the time. And like, if my kids watch that movie, they would be like, "Oh, you know, it's funny. Look how big the computer monitor was, or the phone, the car." Or my favorite is when he was looking at the apartment in New York that was $950, and because I've looked,
I thought the same goddamn thing.
$950, you couldn't buy this little room I'm in for New York now. You know, it's funny to me how.
Times have changed. Yeah.
It's a time capsule.
It is a time capsule.
And it's great. But movie, back to the whole point of this, movie was great, story was great, character was great, actors were great.
Yeah, the acting was really, really good. It was just, I can't imagine living in that world. And all I kept thinking is their life is work. Like it's get up, do the same thing, get all, you know, adrenaline like that. I can't imagine doing that every day.
Even Sean Young, who's supposed to be like the housewife, she actually not doing any housewife stuff. She maybe entertain guests, but she's not dealing with the kid. There's a nanny for this. And that like
put him in that little black suit that I like. Give him a nap and put him in that little black suit.
He's like he's not really a person, it's like a trophy, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have a kid.
Can I give you a spoiler? You want me to give you a good spoiler?
Sure.
Sure. You could say no, and I won't give it to you.
That's fine.
So part of the second one is the kid, Rudy, that little
boy, I'm
not
not going to watch the second one, so go ahead.
He commits suicide over whatever. And then the main character is his sister, who's not even in Wall Street 1 in the first version. Spoilers. Come here.
Yeah, spoilers. It really does. Doesn't really matter. Plus, it's a shitty movie. Anyway, what I wanted to touch before Feeling says anything, I remember watching this movie on VHS. I think it was either literally came out. So around 88, maybe 89. So I was really young when I watched this. I was 89. In 89, I was 10. And it deals with adult stuff. But like I said, I told my feelings, and I probably said it on the podcast as well. When I was young, we had a stack of VHSs coming in every weekend. Some of them was for me and some of them were for the parents, but I usually watched everything. Even the adult stuff. If there was no overt sexual things, even the sex scene, that's like mild. In the 80s, a 10-year-old can watch it. That's fine.
I watched it with her son the other night. So the two sex scenes in Wall Street, I'm like, oh God, no. Even though it's a kid.
I didn't watch it with my parents. I watched it because there was a TV and a VCR, and I'm alone I was a latchkey kid. So there's nobody in the house until 4, 5. And I came from school at around 12:30 ish. We didn't do in elementary school. We didn't have up till 3:00 like the US. For us, it's like done. There's no homeroom. There's no nothing. We just went home. So
you had a VHS of Porky's, right?
I did, but only after 12. Sadly, only after 12, I saw Porky's and a few other things. Feelings. Some summary.
Again, watching this film in retrospect, I thought it was fantastic. But Jen, I really liked your interpretation of it as a first-time watcher. Meffistoe, I know that you've mentioned that this is one of your favorite films, and you have more experience with it. And the same with you, Meff. And we all have different interpretations on what we pick up from it. Because from my interpretation, I only get I have these thoughts and how you mentioned, Meffistoe, how art is subjective and it's really based on your own personal experiences. Like you may like a song for a particular reason because it reminds you of a certain day you had in the summer. This film only reminds me of when I was in business school and all of those kids around me that again took the different lesson from this film and actually did buy into that greed is good philosophy and wanted to be the next Gordon Gekko. And I mean in the worst way possible, as in they wanted to be that cutthroat. They didn't see anything wrong with it whatsoever. They didn't see any kind of there was no moral ambiguity there. There was just like, we know this is wrong, but we do not care.
By the way, a great watch. If you haven't watched it, go watch The Big Short.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great too.
2015, and it's all about the 2008 collapse.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn good. All right. Before we end everything up, we have a little segment called the short version, which what I do is take the movie, condense it to under 2 minutes, and just having fun with it. So let me set this up. Here we go. We need to do this, not this, this. So here we go. The short version of Wall Street. Hope you can hear it fine.
Okay.
There we go.
Here we go. The short version.
You spent 5 minutes of your time.
Could have been my money.
There is no nobility in poverty anymore, Dad.
They're analysts. They don't know preferred stock from livestock, all right?
But Fox, I look at 100 deals a day. I choose one.
I just bagged the elephant.
The most valuable commodity I know of is information.
If you're not inside, you are outside, okay?
Start buying Anacon's deal across the board.
I've just heard the most lovely 2 words.
Great spender of other people's money.
If your enemy is superior, evade him.
Huh? But he's learning.
This is your wake-up call, pal. Go to work.
Never knew how poor I was till I started making a little money.
You're on a roll, kid. Enjoy it while it lasts, because it never does.
So what's it, Mr. Cocksucker now?
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
The only difference between the pyramids and the Empire State Building is the Egyptians didn't allow unions. He's using you, kid. He's got your prick in his back pocket, but you're too blind to see it.
60, $70 million. Not bad for a month's work.
I thought that you were gonna turn Blue Star around, not upside down. But why do you need to wreck this company?
Because it's wreckable, all right? I create nothing.
I own.
Okay, buddy. We are back in business on Blue Star.
You once told me don't get emotional about stock, Gordon. Don't.
Man looks in the abyss. There's nothing staring back at him.
I gave you Darien. I gave you your manhood. I gave you everything.
You did the right thing, bud.
All right. Well, maybe not this. There we go. I'll be in the bottom for now. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Before we leave, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel right here. You can try and get me on DMs on Twitter at Meffistoe or on Instagram at Meffistoe79. You can always email the show, the Reel McCoy podcast at gmail.com. Or if you don't want to watch us on YouTube, you can catch us on Twitch on the same named channel. If you should go and give Jersey Girl Jenny a follow on Twitch. Thank you. Check out FU Tone's website on futone.com.
And thank you to who put that in the stream. I can't see. What is that?
Saphira.
Yeah.
My good friend. Saphira.
Yes, thank you very much.
Awesome. This was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Enjoy your weekend and good night. Wait.
Going home to Wall Street again.